Welcome to our deep dive into Guy de Maupassant's timeless masterpiece. The Necklace. This powerful narrative explores the devastating consequences of human vanity, social aspiration, and pride. When Mathilde Loisel, a woman born into a modest family of clerks, dreams of an aristocratic lifestyle filled with exquisite luxuries, sparkling jewels, and grand banquets, she sets into motion a tragic chain of events. A single night of borrowed splendor transforms into 10 grueling years of relentless physical labor and crushing poverty, culminating in an unforgettable twist ending that questions the true price of social status and superficial appearances. Mathilde Loisel suffered endlessly from a profound sense of misplaced destiny, feeling that she had been born into a modest station by a cruel error of fate. She grieved over the shabby poverty of her household, the bare walls, the worn-out chairs, the coarse curtains, and the simple dinner table shared with her hard-working, devoted husband who was merely a minor clerk in the Ministry of Public Instruction. While her husband happily relished his warm soup, Mathilde tormented herself with vivid fantasies of dainty dinners, served on shining silverware, magnificent tapestries peopling splendid salons, and silent, perfumed rooms designed for intimate evening conversations with elite admirers. The delicate balance of their quiet domestic life was suddenly tested when Monsieur Loisel triumphantly returned home bearing a large official envelope containing an invitation to an exclusive reception at the Ministry of Education. Instead of leaping with joy as her husband eagerly anticipated, Mathilde angrily tossed the invitation onto the table, bursting into bitter tears. When gently asked what was wrong, she sobbed that she had nothing appropriate to wear to such an elite gathering, refusing to attend an event where she would look poor and humiliated among the wealthiest women of Paris. Desperate to appease his weeping wife, Monsieur Loisel generously surrendered 400 francs, his entire savings earmarked for purchasing a hunting gun so she could buy a magnificent new ball gown. Yet, even with a stunning dress, Mathilde remained inconsolable because she possessed no jewels to adorn her neck. Following her husband's wise suggestion, she visited her wealthy former convent schoolmate, Madame Forestier, and eagerly requested permission to borrow from her sparkling collection. Spellbound, Mathilde discovered a superb diamond necklace in a black satin box. Placing it around her neck and gazing at her reflection with breathless ecstasy, the night of the ministerial ball proved to be an overwhelming personal triumph for Mathilde Loisel. She was by far the prettiest woman present, elegant, gracious, smiling, and completely intoxicated by pleasure and the intoxicating adoration of the crowd. Every man at the reception stared at her, inquired about her identity, sought personal introductions, and vied for the honor of waltzing with her. Even the government minister himself noticed her radiant charm, floating on a cloud of euphoria. Mathilde danced with rapturous passion, completely forgetting her shabby apartment, her financial struggles, and the bitter poverty of her everyday existence. The magical enchantment shattered abruptly when Mathilde and her exhausted husband finally returned home in the chilly Parisian dawn. As she stood before the mirror to take off her magnificent ball gown for one final glimpse of glory, she uttered a piercing shriek. The diamond necklace was completely gone from her neck. Frantic searches through the folds of her dress, her coat pockets, and the dimly lit stairwells yielded nothing. Monsieur Loisel rushed back out into the freezing night, retracing their steps and searching the dark streets and cab the carriage drivers used. But the precious jewel had vanished without a trace. Unable to find the lost jewelry and desperate to avoid public disgrace, the Loisels resolved to replace it. At a jewelry shop in the Palais Royal, they found an identical diamond string valued at 36,000 francs. By pooling Monsieur Loisel's modest inheritance and signing ruinous, high-interest promissory notes with ruthless usurers, they scraped together the funds. This single catastrophic mistake plunged them into a decade of agonizing poverty. Mathilde dismissed her maid, moved into a harsh garret, scrubbed dirty floors, carried heavy water buckets, did the grueling laundry herself, and bargained fiercely at vegetable markets, while her husband worked late nights copying manuscripts for pennies to pay off every last coin of debt. 10 grueling years later, all debts were finally settled, though Mathilde now looked prematurely aged, coarse, and hardened by poverty. One Sunday, while walking in the Champs-Élysées, she encountered Madame Forestier, who still looked remarkably youthful and elegant. Impulsively deciding to speak out, Mathilde revealed the entire dramatic history of the lost necklace and the decade of sacrifice required to replace it. Stunned with disbelief, Madame Forestier clasped her hands and cried out, "Oh, my poor Mathilde! But mine was imitation. It was worth at most only 500 francs." In this breathtaking ironic climax, Guy de Maupassant exposes how unbridled vanity and a reluctance to speak the truth can destroy a lifetime over a mere illusion.